Diamond Heights changes things up by giving you a park that's running already rather decently, but it still has its problems. The first thing I'm researching are stalls because while I do have the information kiosk unlocked, I do not have any drink stalls and you really need them. You also start off with guests in the park already complaining about being hungry, so the first thing you want to do is build some food stalls so that they can actually eat. You'll also see that I'm going to be pausing the scenario here because I want to work on the attractions and I really want to update the staff. You saw that we started off with 2 mechanics that had 2 zones sharing the park between them. Given the size of the park and the number of attractions you start off with, let alone the number of attractions you're going to need to finish off the scenario, it's really not feasible. I'm putting down mechanics for every exit to an attraction that I'm keeping around, not for those that I know I'm already going to be getting rid of, like the railroad back there, or the mini steel roller coaster, or the log flume. I'm also giving the handyman smaller zones than I usually do because of the size of the park, but it's better because smaller zones means they go through them faster and they can clean faster. Better to do that and spend a bit more money on staff than to deal with people and guests complaining that the paths are dirty. I believe by the end of the scenario I had about 20 plus handymen walking around. So the thing about Diamond Heights as a scenario, I do get rid of some attractions from the get-go. As I said, I get rid of the Indiana Railroad because had it been covered like the monorail, I would have kept it around because it is a very good and rather exciting, gentle ride to keep around, but as it's not covered, it will just be a money waster and ignored in favor of indoor activities when it's raining. I also got rid of the mini steel roller coaster here because I hate the paths in how they are set up in the scenario. So I get all of them out of that little part and I build up a more direct thoroughfare. I get rid of the log flume because it doesn't seem all that popular and the queue length for it is much too long. And I got rid of the slide because people are complaining that it's taking too long to get through the queue there, and that's because it's on unlimited rides, which I got rid of instead of changing the options for it. So with Diamond Heights, as I said, it runs already rather well for a park, but it has its shares of problems in terms of its attractions. You start off with 4 rather decent roller coasters. I got rid of the mini steel roller coaster, so I only had 3. And the 2 roller coasters I want to talk about are Agoraphobic and Claustrophobic, the black and white roller coaster there on the bottom left. They work in conjunction with each other. They work very well. They're popular. But the thing is that they are already 2 to 3 years old by the start of the scenario, and they are steel roller coasters, which when they are at that age start to break down more frequently, and that's why it's best that I always put their inspection time at 10 minutes at the beginning of the scenario. Usually by the end of year 2, beginning of year 3, despite them being popular, I ended up getting rid of them because they were spending more time being broken down than being ridden. And the thing is, Diamond Heights' goal is based on your park value and your finances, not on the number of guests that you have in your park. Which the park value is based on the number of attractions you have, numbers of rides, how well they are doing, and stuff like that. So if they are new, good. If they are old, that's not so good. And if they break down more frequently, that's also not good. That's why you want to get rid of agoraphobic and claustrophobic. Unfortunately, since they also go underground, you can't just save the track, delete the coaster, and then set it back to where it was. It's unfortunately not possible. Here I'm building a mini steel roller coaster to replace the one that I got rid of. I had some difficulty with the supports, and then I remembered that the steel mini roller coaster had helixes, and I had to remind myself how to actually build those. It overall ended up a pretty decent roller coaster. It stayed around for the entire scenario. But I'll be honest, I really don't care much for Diamond Heights as a scenario. I don't like how the paths are set out, and I don't like how the rides are set out. Most of the time, I consider this scenario also to be very boring, because I actually spent a lot of time just with the camera going around, because contrary to the other scenarios, you don't actually have to unlock attractions and build them yourself to actually get things going. You already have a park going to begin with. You're just trying to maintain it and improve it. The upside is that you only have a loan of 1,000 euros going on, so you can easily pay that back, because with Agoraphobic and Claustrophobic, you have some pretty good roller coasters going on. They are money makers. And I keep having people complaining that they are lost when the people saying they are lost are the ones currently being right at the exit, but that's because I hadn't built the information kiosks at the time. You also see here, June year 2, I did a huge skip because there was really not much going on. But here I am, haven't replaced the log flume yet with anything, so I tried my hand at building another roller coaster for the Crazy Vol ones. I also replaced the Indiana Miniature Railroad with the monorail that I unlocked as the last gentle ride in the scenario, because, as always, it is a gentle ride, it can serve as a shuttle service, and it is very popular when it rains. It's covered, it's perfect for that. But for the most part, even at this point, there's nothing I was doing. I actually, part of the scenario, I had the gang going and I just left it alone. Sitting here, I actually grabbed my 3DS and started playing Animal Crossing New Leaf a bit. You know, just throwing an eye on the screen every now and then to see if things were going well, and they were. I was just waiting for the scenario to end. It did take me quite a while to get the park value up to 20,000. I believe it didn't really do that until the end of year 2. But that's because I was waiting for the monorail to unlock, which kept giving me gentle rides first. And then I was just going around. Things were doing well. I was getting money in anyway. What was it? I ended up with like 50,000 euros or so in terms of spending money. Since you have such a small loan going on with only 1,000 euros, you can easily pay that back. And after that, all the money you have is yours. So here I just built the pre-built suspended roller coaster. No, the inverted roller coaster, that's what this one was. Because despite having 36,000 euros at hand, I just didn't really feel like wasting much time trying to figure out on writing and making a great roller coaster, and then getting one with an excitement rating that didn't work and an intensity rating that was ultra extreme. So I plopped this one down. It was still very high, but at this point I was just replacing more and more stuff. In the bottom right corner you can see that this is where I already had gotten rid of claustrophobia and agoraphobia. I eventually put go-karts there, mostly having them go into the mountain there. And some thunderstorms going on. I actually got a lot of thunderstorms there at the time. But for the most part, people were just waiting for the monorail. Actually, I accidentally deleted the path there. the roller coaster there in the far back. Oh, here is something that I'm only now seeing in editing. I eventually got a notice that one of the cars in the Crazy Mouse roller coaster was still not back at the station, and until I actually got that notification, I didn't know anything was going on. But here in editing, I can see, oh, there was something going on there, so I had to close down the roller coaster, and as you can see, I actually got rid of it and replaced it with a wooden roller coaster. Simply because I believe the waiting time was getting too much, and it didn't seem that good of an idea to keep it any longer. But we are already here at year 3, just waiting for things to finish up. Of course, you can get a huge and much better park value than what I actually ended up with. I believe my park value, last I looked at it in the scenario before winning, was at like 25,000 or 26,000 euros, which is over what was actually needed, but I'm sure many other people can do a lot better and get up to 30,000 euros as a park value. And as you can see there's the problem. There's a handyman that I put down there that I didn't tell to not mow, and he just kept doing that. And here we are getting to the end. And I have $87,780.